closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen. Ooh. Oh, and they come unstuck, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your listening hand. I love you when you sing that song, yeah. I gotta lump my throat 'cause you wanna sing words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your listening hand. I love you when you sing that song, yeah. I gotta lump my throat 'cause you wanna sing words wrong. Thank you very much.
Due to COVID restrictions, it is important that you remain in your allocated seats and do not move around the venue unnecessarily. You are not permitted to switch seats unless advised by theatre staff. We thank you for your understanding.
Welcome to this James Cook University graduation ceremony. Please ensure that all electronic devices are switched off. Graduates, you are reminded that protocol requires that you take off your mortarboard bonnet for the national anthem. Would the assembly please stand for the entrance of the academic procession?
Members of the official party, members of council, members of staff, distinguished guests, graduates and guests. Good afternoon. Welcome to this graduation ceremony for the Division of Tropical Health and Medicine. Would you please remain standing for the National Anthem, which will be sung by Ms. Andrea Alamé.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful streams, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Will the Assembly please be seated? Professor Martin Nakada, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Indigenous Education and Strategy, will now present a pre-recorded acknowledgement to country.
James Cook University has a long-standing tradition in acknowledging and paying respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have occupied Australia for 60,000 years. Indigenous people's relationship to their countries and seas rests on the understanding that the earth is our mother, the mother that gave birth to us all and provides for us every day. The knowledge accumulated by Indigenous Australians over millennia should speak to us all about the importance of human respect and responsibility for the land and seas on which all our lives and those of future generations still depend. James Cook University takes great pride in this important part of our Australian heritage, and as graduates of this university, I sincerely hope that you will carry this understanding forward throughout your lives. Thank you, and congratulations on your achievements.
We are assembled here today to confer James Cook University degrees and awards. May I take the opportunity to introduce members of the official party. My name is Mr. Russ Parker and I am today's Ceremony Marshal. From my right, Dr. Helen Drennan, Member of the University's Council. Professor Maxine Whittaker, Dean of the College of Public Health, Medical and Veterinary Sciences. Professor Lee Stewart, Dean of the College of Healthcare Sciences. Associate Professor Peter Ann Teague, Acting Dean of the College of Medicine and Dentistry. Professor Christine Bruce, Dean of Graduate Research. University Secretary and today's Mace Bearer, Mr. Ian Troop. The University's Chancellor, Mr. Bill Tudell. Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Sandra Harding, Officer of the Order of Australia. Deputy Chancellor, Mr. Peter Phillips. Dr. David Craig, Director of the Cairns Campus. Professor Marie Dinan Thompson, Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor Students. Professor Richard Murray, Acting Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Tropical Health and Medicine. Professor Stephen Naylor, Chair of the University's Academic Board. Seated behind the official party are members of the university staff. Chancellor, I invite you to address the Assembly.
Good afternoon. I warmly acknowledge today Professor Sandra Harding, AO, our Vice-Chancellor and President, Mr. Peter Phillips, our Deputy Chancellor, Andrea Della Mattei, our distinguished occasional speaker. Andrea has a remarkably successful professional career and a strong connection with JCU as one of our outstanding alumni and as a member of our Singapore Campus Advisory Board. Andrea is based in Singapore, and we are very grateful she was able to record a message for us, which will be played later on. Mr. Alex Myhill, our outstanding graduate speaker, who has also recorded a heartwarming message for us. Alex's academic prowess was apparent from a very young age. In fact, Alex was just 15 when he started his Bachelor of Science studies at JCU's Begaboo Yamba campus, as it is now known in Townsville. I acknowledge also members of council, members of the official party, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, parents, but above all else, our graduating students. A big thank you also to Professor Martin Nakata, AM, another of JCU's outstanding alumni, for his warm and evocative acknowledgement to country. Martin has made and continues to make a very significant contribution to Indigenous education. JCU conducts its business on the lands and the seas of many of Australia's First Nations people, and it's therefore with gratitude that I also acknowledge the traditional owners of those lands and seas and their rich cultures and their unique knowledge of our natural environment and the past, present and future contributions which Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities make to the broader fortunes of our community. Warm thanks also to Andrea Alamay for her stirring rendition of our national anthem and for the excellent pre-ceremony entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many good aspects of being Chancellor of my alma mater. One of the very best is presiding at graduation ceremonies. That's because at these ceremonies I get to see the pride in achievement in the eyes and in the smiles of our terrific graduates, but also of their loved ones. I also have a chance to rejoice with the wonderful staff of James Cook University at the culmination of all their work to turn out graduates of such remarkable quality. 2020 was, by any standards, a tough year, with COVID-19 altering fundamental aspects of our lives and bringing devastation and disruption to our world. So many have suffered loss and continue to do so because of this pandemic. At JCU, the pandemic prompted a fundamental rethinking and rejigging of how we go about our business. The way our JCU community responded was simply outstanding, a heartening affirmation of what we can achieve when we all pull together and support each other. 2020 was also, of course, our university's 50th anniversary, and as a result of COVID restrictions, many of the planned celebrations, along with our graduation ceremonies, had to be cancelled, postponed, or celebrated in virtual ways rather than in person. All this meant that we were unable to give many of our students the live graduation ceremony that you all so richly deserve. Happily, that situation has changed, and the time-honoured tradition of gathering together with your graduating cohort along with family and friends and marking the occasion with ceremony and applause has arrived, and we have the opportunity to honour and celebrate your successes. So I take great pleasure in welcoming you, our graduating students, and in congratulating you on your achievements. In doing so, I acknowledge with gratitude the family and the friends whose love and support have helped bring you to this milestone in your lives. Ladies and gentlemen, a brief note about something you will notice later in the ceremony. James Cook University is always proud to celebrate the diversity of cultures and customs that make up our university community and landscape, so it's especially special for us to acknowledge the academic achievements of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students through a sashing ceremony that we hold just before each graduation ceremony. So you will see those First Nations students proudly wearing their sashes today as they walk across this stage to receive their awards. We were particularly proud to announce last year that local First Nations communities had gifted to us Indigenous language names for each of JCU's campuses in North Queensland. At a personal level, I was very proud to participate in these ceremonies and to acknowledge the role of First Nations communities in the advancement of our university as part of our 50th birthday celebrations. So as we embark upon the next 50 years together, James Cook University's relationship with First Nations communities will remain a central focus of our commitment and of our endeavour. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 20th of April this year, just next week, we wrap up our 50th anniversary year. It will have been half a century since the Queen signed in person the Act which created James Cook University. That was quite literally a unique action in history, being the only time a reigning monarch has done this. My wife Chris, who's with us today, and I were both proud to be there. Last year, we also celebrated 60 years of providing higher education in North Queensland. These days, ladies and gentlemen, James Cook University ceremonies like these graduation ceremonies are dignified and relatively formal events. It seems it wasn't always so. One of our observant JCU staff recently drew my attention to a report that during the speeches at the opening of what was then the University College of Townsville in 1961, the audience gained their first experience of university student pranks. During the official speeches on that auspicious occasion, students thought it would be an amusing idea to lower a dog and a cat from the top of it, securely harnessed, I'm assured, from the top of the building next to where the speeches were being made. And students also let off a single loud firecracker nearby. It seems the audience from the records quite puzzled by all this. So I'm relieved that today's generation, you, are so much better behaved than your predecessors, particularly given that we're live streaming this event. A lot has certainly changed over the decades, and JCU has played a part in many positive developments in our immediate region and across the tropics in fulfilment of our truly visionary mandate to be Australia's university for the tropics. JCU has grown to be a world leader in education and research in the tropics, on the tropics. We're ranked in the top 201 to 250 universities worldwide in the 2021 Times Higher Education World University Rankings and the top 400 universities globally in the academic ranking of world universities in 2020. We are ranked number 1 in the world for marine and freshwater biology and number 2 in the world for biodiversity conservation by the respected Centre for World University Rankings. We are also the only Queensland university and one of only 3 Australian universities to receive a 5-star rating for graduate employment outcomes for the past 10 years in a row, according to the very authoritative Good University Guide. Over the years, we've become a vibrant, multi-campus university, a long way from the humbler infant university at which I commenced studies in 1968. In our 50 years as JCU, over 50,000 graduates have proven the success of the JCU approach to teaching, learning and research. Our graduates have made significant contributions everywhere we look. We're playing vital roles as business people, as educators, as diplomats, vice-chancellors, politicians, law enforcement officers, health professionals, community leaders and chief executives. The point I'm making is that in graduating today, you are joining the ranks of some very high-achieving JCU alumni indeed. To name just a few, Mr. Trent Toomey, National President of the Pharmacy Guild of Australia, Director of Advanced Cairns, and former and highly valued member of the JCU Council that I chair, among other roles, and recognised in 2015 as one of JCU's outstanding alumni. Another is Dr. Shannon Springer, one of JCU's many terrific Indigenous graduates, who is discipline lead for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders health at Bond University on the Gold Coast. Born and raised in far north Queensland, of the Commissioner of the Queensland Police Service and former Commissioner of Queensland Fire and Emergency Services, Katarina Carroll is also one of our graduates. A cast member of Channel 10's Shark Tank program and founder and former CEO of Green Cross, Australia's largest pet care company, Dr. Glenn Richards, is one of our graduates. Dr. Joanne Lukens, a sports psychologist and presenter, is one of our graduates and one of our outstanding alumni. And Dr. Richard Harris, famous, the anaesthetist who was instrumental in the successful cave dive rescue of 12 trapped boys and their football coach in Thailand a couple of years ago, is one of our graduates and a joint Australian of the Year recipient. And for those of you who care, at our beloved North Queensland Cowboys Rugby League team, JCU graduates include a number of people, 2 players, Corey Jensen and Ruben Cotter, but also the Chief Executive Officer, the doctor, who's also doctor for the national team, Dr. Chris Ball, and Paul Bowman. The list goes on. And I mention all these people. I'm sure you're going to be relieved that that's the end of my list for now. I could go on and on with examples of impressive James Cook University graduates, but I'll let those examples illustrate my point. So, ladies and gentlemen, given especially that my wife Chris and I are both graduates of JCU, a particularly pleasant aspect of my role today is to welcome all of our graduates into our alumni family. One of the most uplifting of my roles as Chancellor is seeing you walk across the stage to receive your awards, and that will be the time for your family, your friends and your supporters to applaud and to cheer you with all the gusto and the energy they can muster. But please, no firecrackers. So, wherever you are in the world, our graduates, please do keep in touch with JCU. Chris and I are certainly glad we did. We and many others look forward to hearing of your adventures and successes in the future. Thank you all very much.
Chancellor, I invite the Chair of the Academic Board, Professor Stephen Naylor, to present the graduating students.
Would all graduating students please stand? Way out in the back. Chancellor, I certify to you and to the University that all graduates standing before you today have fulfilled the requirements prescribed by the University, and I ask that they be acknowledged as having been admitted to their respective awards.
In the name of the University Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I acknowledge candidates so approved and congratulate and warmly welcome you as James Cook University alumni.
Graduates, please be seated.
Chancellor, a Doctor of Philosophy degree takes a special place in our graduation ceremonies. It is one of the highest qualifications that the University awards. This degree is awarded for the successful completion of a significant piece of independent research, sustained in a scholarly character and one which makes an original contribution to the field. External examination is always involved. Two candidates will be presented this afternoon. Professor Christine Bruce, Dean of Graduate Research, will present the graduates, and Professor Stephen Naylor, Chair of the Academic Board, will read the thesis abstracts.
Sarah Jessica Criven. Dr. Criven's studies were undertaken in the discipline of psychology under the supervision of Dr. Nicole Thomas, Associate Professor Nerina Caltabiano, and Dr. David Cottrell.
Chancellor, Dr. Criven studied the communicative functions of adult emotional tears. By analysing participants' neurological activity, she found that tears elicit distinct neurological responses that facilitate emotional understanding. Dr. Criven's research shed new light on a uniquely human phenomena which provides insight into pro-social emphatic behaviour in humans. Chancellor, I present Dr. Criven.
Carol Lee Essen. Dr. Essen's studies were undertaken in the discipline of general medicine under the supervision of Dr. Lee Sarrett, Dr. Lee Berger, Professor Nicholas Smith, Associate Professor Jennifer Scott, and the late Emeritus Professor Richard Spear.
Chancellor, Dr. Essen investigated the health of snow leopards in the South Gobi Desert of Mongolia. She found that they had been exposed to serious zoonotic pathogens. Conservation agencies are using her results to formulate management plans for the threatened snow leopard, sympathetic wildlife, domestic stock and Indigenous communities in the region. Chancellor, I present Dr. Essen.
Chancellor, many advisors and academic friends who have worked closely with our graduating researchers are with us today. I invite them to stand in acknowledgement of these graduates' fine achievements. Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
Chancellor, I invite Professor Maxine Whittaker, Dean of the College of Public Health, Medical and Veterinary Sciences, to present the college graduates.
Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Medical Science, Bonnie Facino Sebayang. Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of the College of Public Health, Medical and Veterinary Sciences.
Chancellor, I invite Professor Lee Stewart, Dean of the College of Healthcare Sciences, to present college graduates.
Chancellor, I present graduates awarded the degree of Diploma of Higher Education, Hayley Brooke O'Brien. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Business, Bachelor of Psychological Science, Joanna Motsi Seika. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Exercise Physiology Clinical, Emily Kate Allen. Yan Xian Chen. Alicia Lee Duncan. Rachel Rebecca Kennedy. Rachel Laura Leah. Lynette Maria Reville. Megan Louise Rose. Megan Ann Blanche Verrill. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Nursing Science, Anne Charlene Alici. Katja Elizabeth Giordimania. Walter Norman Kefford. Micaiah Lee Marnock. Hannah Lee Masterson. Jayrani Blanche Eve Nichols. Jasmine Sarami Pierce Tarata. Monique Alice Pezzolato. Vika Rokotimbi. Tamila Shretsa. Anastasia Weremchuk. Meg Ann West. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Nursing Science with distinction. Tia Jade Lelliot. Milsey Chester Atienza Leesa. Rebecca Ann Muta. Michelle Nkawani. And with the Michael Eric Van Genderen Memorial Award, Melissa Jane Knott. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Psychological Science, Nina Carla Galetta. Matthew Joseph Martin. Madison Sivia. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Sport and Exercise Science, Nicaila Renee Casson. Ethan Mark Dryden. Callum James Pacey. Eloise Tara Wone. Chancellor, I present a graduate awarded the degree of Graduate Certificate of Diabetes Education, Christine Kwamboka Basiri. Chancellor, I present a graduate awarded the degree of Graduate Certificate of Nursing, Alison Jane Martin. Chancellor, I present a graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Nursing, Sonia Brielle. This concludes the presentation of the College of Healthcare Science Awards.
Chancellor, I invite Associate Professor Peter Antigue, Acting Dean of the College of Medicine and Dentistry, to present the college graduates.
Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Dental Surgery, as well as the Australian Dental Association Queensland Branch Prize, Delanji Adhikara Mudayang Salaji. Sabrina Josephine Arkle. Eleanor Maria Alza. Minjo Joseph Almutara. Tracy Duran. Emily Ka Wong Fung. Nurjat Kaur Gill. Benura Niven Gunasinghe. Nikhil Kapoor. Anum Khan. Sophie Lim. Leah Ann Michael. Matuza Murugesu. Serena Cam Van Nguyen. Sudhanshu Pathania. Madusha Piamalu Ranatunga. Crystal Marie Skoll. Pravina Sivanujan. David Tadros. Lakana Van Heel. Megan Leslie from Kaeserling. Ryan Wong. Vicky Wu. John Xiang. Yun Juan Yang. Chi Yi Ye. Priya Caitlin Balnavis. Chancellor, I present to you graduates the Bachelor of Dentistry with distinction, and that was the previous graduate that was my error not to include her. Zoe Haralampopoulos. And with the Endodontic Group Award in Clinical Excellence, Elchiru Hepburn. And with the Queensland Graduate Chapter of the Delta Sigma Delta Dental Fraternity Prize, Lani Pelzi. Kelsey Ann Stokes. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Dental Surgery Honours. Kate Rukshana Kirkamali. Himashi Amrapala. Hossam Eldin Ahmed Fawad Ilsanabari. Mohammed Ramadan Hassan Ahmed Alfa. Chancellor, this concludes the presentation of the College Medicine and Dentistry Awards.
Chancellor, I have pleasure in introducing today's occasional speaker, Ms. Andrea Della Matea. Ms. Della Matea is the President of Microsoft Asia Pacific, whose mission is to empower every person and every organisation on the planet to achieve more. Ms. Della Matea has more than 25 years' experience in the technology sector. A student of James Cook University between 1989 and 1992, Ms. Della Matea received her Bachelor of Engineering Computer Systems degree with Class 1 honours in 1993. Ms. Della Matea is also a graduate member of the Australian Institute of Company Directors and currently serves on the Board of Directors for Meals on Wheels New South Wales, the Advisory Board for Habitat for Humanity Australia, and the James Cook University Singapore Advisory Board. Ms. Della Matea was awarded an Outstanding Alumni Award in 2010 and currently resides in Singapore with her husband and 2 sons. Due to the current international travel restrictions, Ms. Della Matea's address has been pre-recorded. Chancellor, Ms. Andrea Della Matea.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, members of Council, members of staff, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, JCU graduates. I'm incredibly honoured to be here with you today to celebrate you and your achievements. Now, who would have ever imagined that a global pandemic would impact the world as it did? And yet, thanks to the incredible team at James Cook University, and technology, of course, we all have the opportunity to be here with you today to celebrate you. Now, I've no doubt when you look back and you reflect upon the prior years, you're probably filled with some mixed emotions. On the first day, that sense of excitement starting out on your degree, meeting new students, some from other cities or other countries, many of who may become your lifelong friends, others who might become a future business partner if you have dreams of starting your own organisation to make a difference in the world. And of course, today, your graduation day, that sense of achievement, finally completing your degree. You know, when I look back and reflect upon my time at James Cook, I have so many incredible memories. But what I remember most vividly is the look in my parents' eyes. They were so proud of me, of my achievements, and they were so excited to see me graduate. And I simply could not have made it through my degree without their support. James Cook wasn't close to where I lived, and back then, in the 90s, we didn't have Snapchat, Instagram, or TikTok, and yet I always knew my parents had my back, and they were there for me when I needed them, through the good times and the bad. And let's face it, there certainly were some tough days. Now, for some of you graduating today, you may know that same feeling. So I'd like to take a moment to thank and recognise the parents, family members and friends who are here today to celebrate our graduates. Thank you for your unwavering support and guidance for our graduates. It's the advice you give, the values that you impart, that have helped shape and influence who our graduates are today. And you should be incredibly proud, because today is as much about you as it is our graduates. And now to our James Cook graduates, a hearty congratulations. You've made it to graduation. And you're graduating from an incredible university where people are making a difference to create a brighter future for life in the tropics. Okay, so now that you've graduated, what's next? Where to from here now, right? When Professor Harding first invited me to give the occasional address, I had to stop and think, what would be of interest to share with you? I've had so many learnings since I graduated back in 1993, so I asked myself, what would I have loved to know back then on my graduation day? And I've decided to share 3 learnings with you. And the first is to follow your passion. Find something you believe in. Find something that you feel strongly about, to pay it forward and give back to somebody else. When I studied engineering, it was a time when there were very few females studying engineering, and there were very few females in the engineering industry. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about spending time with young female students in high school and university, encouraging them to pursue STEM. And I feel really humbled that I'm invited to speak with young female students. I remember fondly how I spent International Women's Day one year with 500 young female high school students in Sri Lanka. Those girls just blew me away with their hopes and dreams, and big hopes and dreams. One young girl wanted to develop an app to help people with depression. And another young girl wanted to develop an app to help better educate youths in remote locations. Their stories were just so inspirational and so powerful, and I feel really humbled where I'm in a position that I can give back and I can balance my personal passion with my professional career. And that leads me to my second piece of advice. I encourage you to find people who believe in you and your potential. You know, in your life, you will meet people who may not believe in you and your potential. They'll be the naysayers and the critics. Do not let them define who you are. Only you can define who you are, and I encourage you to be the very best version of you that you can possibly imagine. I was very fortunate early on in my career to interview with a young tech entrepreneur. And I still remember, as I was preparing for the interview, I was ready to talk about my history, my results, what I had achieved, and yet the young entrepreneur wanted to focus on my future and what I wanted to do, my aspirations. And in hindsight, looking back, he saw something in me, and that was my potential. When you work with someone who believes in you and your potential, they give you the opportunity to learn, to take a risk, to fail, and to grow. You know, we all have unlimited potential, but it takes real courage to realise that potential and to be fearless. Lastly, I encourage you to go out there and change the world. The world desperately needs you, now more than ever. Young, hopeful, fearless, passionate people. You know, there are many ways to make money out there, but at the end of the day, all you'll have is money. If you strive to make a difference in this world, then you'll have lived a life worth living. I'm really fortunate that I have the opportunity to work with an organisation that supports and encourages me to do just that. At Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organisation on the planet to achieve more. And that's what inspires me. It's knowing that every day we're making a difference. We're helping young girls in Sri Lanka to beat the odds, we're helping entrepreneurs to fulfil their dreams, and we're empowering the planet. So I encourage you, go out there and change the world. Leave your mark in the sand. Think about the difference that you want to make. And with that, I'd like to congratulate you again on your graduation day and wish you all the very best for success. Cheers.
Chancellor, outstanding graduate Mr. Alex Myhill will now present the 2021 graduate address. Mr. Myhill's address has also been pre-recorded.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, members of Council, members of staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of my fellow graduates to Ms. Andrea Della Mattia, today's occasional speaker. I am certain that I speak for us all when I say that we are inspired and empowered by the eloquent words of this outstanding JCU alumni. Ms. Andrea Della Mattia, your experience and wisdom reflected in your speech today places before us a lofty goal. Your reminder to us of the opportunities that await in the modern world, as well as the pitfalls, is invaluable. It is incumbent on all of us graduates assembled here today to reflect on and aspire to put into practice your words of inspiration from this day forward. Chancellor, on behalf of today's graduates, would you please pass on our thanks and gratitude to Ms. Andrea Della Mattia. Having reached this milestone of celebrating our achievements at today's ceremony, it is important to acknowledge the journey that we have all undergone. Everyone graduating today has had a different pathway to this point. Some of us came straight from school. Others took a leap of faith after a period in the workforce. There are several common factors, however, that bind us together. The first is the support of our parents, family, and friends. Tertiary education, whilst exciting and uplifting, can be very demanding and stressful. Throughout the journey that we have taken, these great people have shared in our successes, comforted us in our failings, acted as our confidants when we questioned our own abilities, and for some, been a shoulder to cry on. You have enriched our lives and enabled our journey of growth and learning. You have and deserve our eternal gratitude, and, dare I say it, you can finally breathe a sigh of relief on our behalf. Graduates, please stand and turn towards your family and friends here today and join me in a vigorous round of applause.
Chancellor, I now have the pleasure of inviting Professor Sandra Harding, Chancellor and Vice President, to deliver the closing address.
Chancellor, Deputy Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, children, but most of all, graduates. I'm here to congratulate you, our graduates, and I do so most warmly and sincerely. You have achieved something important. really something mighty by being here today. You have stayed the course and met the requirements of your degree program, and you enter the world in a new way as a graduate, a James Cook University graduate, and now a member of the JCU alumni. You deserve my very best congratulations and those of everyone here in this auditorium. We celebrate you and we honour you. Well done, graduates, well done. Second, I also acknowledge and congratulate your parents, family, friends and supporters, many here and the many more who are thinking of you from afar. As you walked across the stage, the pride of those here, their pride in you and what you have achieved today was obvious. On a day like this, a day that can seem like it's all about you, I hope you will take a moment to think about them. In many ways, your parents' or carers' job over many years, from the time you were born, has been to practice letting you go. Certainly to love you, to help you, to guide you, and to provide what they could for you. But ultimately, their job is to let you go, to become your own person. Until you become a parent or grandparent or carer, you cannot know what this letting go is like. Watching you grow and achieve, seeing you struggle and succeed, and not knowing how or if they can help, while hoping you make choices worthy of you. That watching is joyful and hard and sad and wonderful all at once. Your other family members, your friends and supporters have had a similar job, to be there with you and for you, to help you along your way as best they can, but to let you be who you are, who you want to be. Graduates, my point is that this letting go is a very difficult task, and all these people here today, or thinking of you from afar, who have loved and supported you as long as they have known you, deserve my best congratulations for all they have done for you, and they deserve yours too. Once this ceremony is concluded, please take a moment to tell them so, for surely you wouldn't be here without them. Strangely, perhaps, the job of your professors and lecturers and the professional and technical staff of the university is rather the same as those others we acknowledge today. While our engagement with you hasn't been for as long, we too have watched you develop, and our job has been to guide and to help you as you work towards achieving your qualification. So I congratulate and thank my university colleagues for the important role that they have played on your educational journey. Know that we're here to help you as best we can, but we are also in the business of letting you go to develop and grow from here. Now, with thanks delivered, you might think that my job and this ceremony is done. Not so. My job is to give you the last word from the university, and that last word, in just a few moments more, focuses on you and what happens from here. The late 1990s movie Sliding Doors, starring Gwyneth Paltrow, explored the consequences of making a particular choice. The central idea is that the choices we make at any moment will take us in one direction, whereas a different choice made at that same moment might have very different life consequences. It wasn't a great movie and far from a box office success, but that central idea about the possibility of different lives lived as a result of our choices is intriguing, and it rings true for many of us. Graduates, in the spirit of letting you go, it is your choices from here that I want to speak with you about. I put it to you that today, as you sit here, and for the rest of your professional life, there are two critical questions facing you. How you choose to respond to them is up to you, and you alone. Together, your response, what you choose, will determine your life's course. Here's the first question. Can you do what needs to be done? Can you do what needs to be done? Now, answering this question might seem easy. Each and every one of you has already shown that you are capable and can do what needs to be done. While working towards achieving your goal of completing your degree program, you were tested, you endured, you succeeded. You wouldn't be here otherwise, the very centre of this celebration. But there's another side to this question. As a new graduate, can you do what needs to be done from here as a professional in this world? While a good income and community esteem are often linked to professional practice, it is service that lies at the heart of being a professional. Indeed, all professions serve others in one way or another. Some have legal obligations to do so. This means that while you now have a solid knowledge and skills base to practice as a professional in your field, with your degree proof of that, more is required of you. In order to be able to do what needs to be done in order to serve as a professional, you will need to build on that base throughout your career. You will need to make learning and development your constant companion. This is vital. As you practice your profession, others will be relying on your up-to-date skills and knowledge, on your advice and your expertise. Often those others will need your utmost attention and effort, your utmost professionalism in a moment when they may be vulnerable or questioning or don't know what to do, relying on you to help them understand, to guide their action to do or to be better. Meeting the needs of others, your service, requires that you commit to growing your knowledge and skills, your understanding and expertise. So my first question is, can you do this, graduates? Can you do what needs to be done to serve as a professional in this world? Graduates, I don't doubt, and I expect that no one here in this auditorium today doubts that you can do this, that you can do what needs to be done if you choose. But here's my second question. Graduates, will you do what needs to be done? Will you do what needs to be done? If your professional life from here is like most others, most of your days will be fairly routine. You will grow your capability and your understanding of your profession. You will serve. You may even become a leader in your field whom other professionals look to for guidance and advice. On those routine days, you will meet others' needs as required, and you will practice your profession by simply getting on with the job you've committed to do. But graduates, there is nothing surer than this. From time to time, among these many routine days, there will be days of extraordinary intensity and hard choices. At those times, despite all your commitment to learning and growing your knowledge and expertise, despite all your experience and understanding, there'll be moments when you are truly tested to a point where you feel you don't know, where it all seems too hard. There will be times when you must choose between what others need and what you want. There will be times when you must choose between an easy path and the right path. What you choose to do at these times, these most difficult of times, that will come to you as they do to us all, is full of meaning for those who are depending on you as a professional and as a person. It is in these moments that you will need to find strength and courage. You will need to find your will to do what needs to be done. Making the choice to do what needs to be done when it is hard and you would rather not, when you yourself might be criticised or feel at risk, will test your strength and your courage. Making the choice to do what needs to be done in these moments will test your honesty and your humility. It will test your ethics and your integrity. It will test your worth as a professional. But most of all, making the choice to do what needs to be done will test who you really are and who you have become. Your choice at those moments, and those moments will come to you, your choice at those most difficult moments will define you as a professional and as a human being in this world. Graduates, your parents, friends, loved ones and supporters chose to do all they could for you, and they choose to let you go, to be your own person, to write your own script in this world. By means of their love and support for you, they have chosen you and all your promise. And here they are again in this place, or thinking of you from afar. As hard as it is, they are doing their best to let you go, to make your own choices from here, for you to decide what sort of professional, what sort of person you will become. Now, and there's no putting this off, right now, it is time for you to choose. Will you commit to doing what needs to be done, easy or not, whether you want to or not? Will you make this choice, this solemn vow to yourself, to those who love you and care for you, and to the many others you have not yet met, but who will be depending on you? Will you do this and set your life's course to become the professional, to become the person you were always meant to be? Graduates, I urge you to think deeply on this. If you can make this choice, if you will commit to doing what needs to be done, know this: the world will be a better place for you, having lived in it. Graduates, choose wisely. Goodbye and good luck.
Chancellor, the successful staging of this ceremony is the culminative effort of many university and venue staff. I would like to thank the university ceremonies and examination officers and the management and staff of the Cairns Performing Arts Centre for the staging of this ceremony. This graduation ceremony is now concluded. Graduates and guests, please observe COVID-safe distancing practices as you exit the venue. Will the Assembly please stand as the Chancellor leads the academic procession from the stage?